I do not owe you a six-pack. I do not owe you abs. I do not owe you none of that. Welcome to another day, another chance to rewrite your story. Today we are going to continue with the second part of the Men and Insecurity series. I had promised that I am going to be talking about my insecurities. I'm going to open up. I'm going to lead by example, because just this past weekend I received a video from a friend. I want to believe that it was really recent. It showed someone jumping off of a building to meet their death. It shook me to the core even further. That is my motivation for doing these videos, because we cannot continue to pretend that everything is okay. It's not. It's difficult. My other story regards my physique. If you have met me, if you know me, you know that I am a large man. Over the years, I've become prouder and prouder of it, and I have owned what I look like. I have owned my body. But that has not always been the case. It's been a journey. It continues to be a journey. I know that whenever we talk about physique and the self-image that is attached to what you look like, it has always been relegated to the women folk. But no one really ever acknowledges the insecurity that comes with physique for the males. And that's unfortunate, that's sad, because my purpose is to bring to the forefront the conversations that men would have behind closed doors. The tears they cry behind those closed doors, that's what we want to address. Growing up, I always begin from growing up, because everything has a stem, everything has a root. So growing up, I was a large baby when I was born. I was probably 4.1 kgs. I'm going to confirm from my mom. But yes, I was about 4.1 kgs. So I was destined to be a large child. The first blessing that my grandfather, who I'm named after, his name is Wahenya as well, he said that you are going to be a large man. You're not only going to be great, you're going to be large, like physically. I have not disappointed. Again, grew up a normal child, very active. I was a fat kid. I always somehow had a pot belly, even from the time I was a child. Many people will be like, oh, nutrition, or suju, I don't know. All I know is that I had a pot belly, and I carry it to date, and you are not going to tell me about it. I played a lot outside. Like, it was even a problem for my mom trying to peel me off of the playing ground, because I was playing so much. Like, I was super active. Even in school, very active. I was part of the school swim team, and by the time, now in primary school, and by the time I was graduating, I was the vice captain of our school swim team. I graduated from primary school, and I was a large kid, and I mean, had been called all sorts of names. Think about any name that's associated with fatness or bigness or largeness. Think of it, I was called that. It would hurt me a little, but not enough to make me sit in the corner and cry myself off. No. I don't know. I feel like I was very strong-willed, very determined to not let my physique determine my abilities. So when I got into high school, my weight shed off so drastically. It was okay. I was still very active in the swim team throughout high school. About 6 years after high school, I was still rather small. Yeah, those are the times when I tried out being a model and stuff. It didn't work out. I guess God didn't want me to go in that line. I don't know. But it didn't work out. In 2010, I went abroad for the first time, and I was still very petite at that point. I had gone just for the summer, so it was a very short break, 3-4 months. I had gained about 15 kilograms. I don't even think it's medically acceptable to gain so much weight in such a little time. At the time I was probably 21, 22. My family came to pick me up at the airport, and I literally saw disbelief in their faces. It was like, where is our child? And I was like, I'm here. Restarted my journey with my weight. It was difficult because I held people facing roles in church, in the ministry. I was in front of people a lot, so it was very easily noticeable that my physique has changed so fast you haven't even had time to change your wardrobe. That was a bit difficult for me because for 10 years I was really petite and I was really comfortable in that physique, in that body size. And so now I have to relearn to dress this new body. I have to relearn how to relate with this new body. People do build relationships with their bodies. If something changes about it, then you sort of have to learn how to relate with that change. And so for me, that was what I had to learn. It was really difficult. People are really careless with their words. They're like, si you lose weight, na umeongeza, na si umekula. One thing you need to know about food in the Americas is that if you're not buying food from organic stores, you're probably eating something really unhealthy, something that is infused with chemicals, infused with genetically modified stuff. The same quantity that I would have had here of the same thing carried a lot more calories and was a lot more unhealthier. Some people are really mean about what they would say. In fact, I remember there was a man in church who walked up to me and he was like, oh, you're fat, you should lose some weight. And my immediate response at that point was, go tell that to your wife needs to lose weight. I was already conscious, I know it in my mind, you don't need to confirm that to me. Like, I'm not your business, you mind your own. But at that point I realized that this was the beginning of a new phase of the journey with my self-image and my weight. I was getting to that point when you're trying to really define your future, to dedicate a lot of time to doing the things you love so that you can figure things out and sort of decide what direction you're taking in life. And so I didn't have lots of time to be thinking about my body in terms of I need to go to the gym, and even the gym costs money. And so time went on. Some times were better than others. There were times when I would just look in the mirror and I'd absolutely hate myself. Comparison is poison. Don't consume it. I would look at my peers and some of them, they have the six-pack going, some of them have the muscles going, but look at me. I have one big pack. While it was okay, there were times that were more difficult than others. There were times I would decline invites to places and things because I was conscious about what I looked like or what I would look like in the clothes that I've picked out. I tried my very best to keep doing what I love, which was singing. I enjoyed going to concerts at the time, mainly because I was on stage, so I couldn't really run away from that. Fast forward to present day. There are still times when I would prefer to see a different image on the mirror than what it is I am now. But then also, very quickly, I remind myself that this is the gift that God has given you. This is the body that God has given you. Take the best care of it. I remember sometime this year or last year, I put up a post on Instagram. Part of my belly was showing. And the caption was, I do not owe you a six-pack. I do not owe you abs. I do not owe you none of that. And I repeat to everybody that's watching this, you do not owe anyone anything. The only thing you owe people is basic humanity and goodness of the heart. Everything else, you do not owe anyone. And even if you're looking in the mirror and you're like, oh my God, I really do not like what I see in the mirror, it's fine. That's your body. to do what it is you please with it. The Creator gave you that body for a reason. It's the shelter that your spirit dwells in. Take good care of it. Whenever I walk into stores and I find these really chiseled out male mannequins, I do not feel represented whatsoever. And I remember walking out of a few stores simply because the mannequins did not represent my body type. I'm not chiseled. I do not have a V-shaped abdomen. I have broad shoulders. I'm not that mannequin. And I've walked out of the store and I was like, I don't think there's anything for me here. And it took a bit of coaxing by the salespeople in the shop for me to stop and actually buy anything from there. And so I'm coming to that place of really loving myself for who I am, and where I don't feel represented, I'm very vocal about it. I do throw out challenges to people who put out fashion content. I can see that your models are skinny. Is that who you're selling to? Are you selling to skinny people? Because if you're going to be selling to someone who's larger, then you probably want to be more inclusive in your choice of models. It takes a lot of courage to be like, hey, I love me. I need to see someone who I can relate to. If you're putting up a product and the model has six packs, or you have a range of models but all of them have six packs, all of them have a particular physical characteristic that I do not have, then I do not feel like you're selling to me. And for me, that says that I am not your target clientele. I am not part of the people you're trying to reach, and I'll simply bypass your product. And it's easy to say, hey, I don't need your money. I don't. But wait till there's 10,000 of us who are saying we are not going to buy your product because there is no representation of us. Then you'll probably think about it differently. With that, have a fabulous week ahead. Let's engage on this. Men out there, what has your experience been with your physique? It doesn't have to be largeness. It could be people think you're too skinny, you're too tall, you're too short, you're too dark-skinned, you're too light-skinned, you're balding. Anything physical, anything about your physique you have had to take a bit of time to get used to, a bit of time to create a healthy relationship with. Let's share about these things. Let's talk about it. We are going somewhere. Keep with me, stay with me. Let's see where this journey leads us. To be honest, I'm just doing this because that's what I feel my spirit is telling me to do. I do not have the complete picture of what it is I'm doing, but from the feedback I have been getting is that keep doing what you're doing. There's someone out there who's listening. It's all worth it if one more person creates a healthier relationship with themselves. Have a lovely week ahead, and thank you so much. Bye.
Vanney boy. Yeah, Vanney boy. They are not ready for this. Black. Yeah, 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 yeah. We're from Mwanza.